Our next step is we're going to teach you what smart layers are and how to use those. The reason smart layers are so important is that when you start placing images, like we're in this composite, we're going to actually be putting multiple fish on here. And every time you size the fish up or down, it adds pixels or takes away pixels. So if you made the picture really, really little, and then you made it really, really big, all the pixels would have been thrown away. And I'll show you an example of that. That's the easiest way to do it. So first what we're going to do is we're going to open up Bridge so we can go navigate to our images that we're going to use in the composite. And we're using 3 different fish, a Malolo, an Ono, and an Omilu. Okay, so first we're going to navigate to our final folder. We're going to go down to Malolo. And we're looking for our master, and it looks like this one is our master. Our master in this particular case is the image where we cropped right to the edge of the image. And our main thing that we have to have in the master is we need a selection. All of the images we do from our fish printing, we have a selection around the fish, and we need to make sure that we have that selection. So we do that, we either see that under layers or we do it under channels and see if there's a fish outline. We do not have a fish outline, so the easiest thing to do is just go look through a couple of the files and find the one that has the fish outline. Oh, let's look under Pass, Window Pass. The 2 places you can see selection saved is under Channels. It'll save it as another channel, or under Pass. And there's no path for this one. Let's see if there's a path for this one. There's not a path for this one. Let's keep looking. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to find the image that had the path, and we know that one had a path because we've made a composite before, this one right here. And I'm not for sure what these other versions are, but let's just look here. There's no path, and let's look under Channels. So I'm looking for the one that we actually made a selection from. And there's no path and no channel on that one. No channel on that one. So let's go to the composite. Here's version 3. Let's see if this has the paths of all the fish. Okay, under this one you can see that we have paths of all sorts of the fish now. Let's just go into our most current one. Window, it was our last one, which would have been this sharpened one, and let's just see if there's a layer. There's not a layer of that one, so we'd have to go make the selection again, and I'm afraid it's going to select some of the background, but let's just try it. Let's just grab this one here. Let's see how easy it is to grab. Just first off, let's go look at the size. Okay, image size. This is a 1611 at 300 dpi, so you can see that we could easily make this twice as big, because if this resolution goes down to 150, notice as we change the resolution to 150, it makes the file twice as big, right? Because size is determined. The size of the file is determined by the width and the height and what the resolution is. So notice when the resolution is at 150, that could be a 30 by 22 on the composite. Okay, if it was at 300, it's a 16 by 11 on that composite. And notice I have resample turned off. What resample in this window means, that means it's either going to add pixel or take away pixels. And ideally, you don't want to keep adding pixels and taking away pixels. And to give you an example of what I'm talking about, this particular image, let's just say that we took this image and we went Command A, Command T, that means transform it, and we made this a really little picture down to that size, and we applied it. Okay, now we went, oh, you know, on your composite, you made the picture really little, but then you said, oh, but I want to make the picture bigger now. Okay, so now we go Command T again, and we blow this back up. But notice what happened is that when we shrunk it down, it made the file really little because it made it fit the 300 dpi at that little size that I was doing. And then when we blew it back up, it had to make more pixels. So what a smart layer does, and just so you can see the difference between this, if we go to History, go to our History palette. Okay, notice here's the original. Look how sharp that original is. See how sharp that is? Now look what happened on our transform. See how it took and it degraded all of it? Because what happens when transforming is the same thing as doing image size, but just to that specific layer. So when we transform it to a really little file, it threw away a whole bunch of pixels. Then when we blew it back up, it lost all the pixels. But now what happens is if we took that same image, and you can do it from your layer palette, from up here, you can say, convert to smart object, okay? Or you can also control click, or command click on your option click, I think is yours on a PC, and you say convert to smart object. So there's a couple ways to do it. So you can either do it right on the layer, you can do it from the layer palette, and I think you also can do it up here from image or layer. You can convert to a smart object. Now what a smart object means, this is the icon of what a smart object looks like. That means that now that layer, it always has a file attached to this file of the original file. So if we went Command T to transform it, we shrunk this thing way down, postage size stamp. And then we said, okay, applied it. And then we went Command T again, and we blew this thing back up to original size. It's going to actually saved that original file in the file, is what it did. So now it didn't lose any quality. So the advantage of using a smart layer is that no matter how big or little, every time you transform the image, it's always finding the original file. The downfall of that is that every time we place this image into your composite, it's making the file extremely big because this file is 91 meg. So if we add this fish 10 different times, that's going to be almost 900 gigs of file size. But you need that, initially you need that because you don't know how big or little you want the fish, and you don't want it transforming it or throwing away pixels and adding pixels every time that happens. So that's why you want to use smart layers. It's really important, especially when we want to be able to size the images and make multiple images at all sorts of different sizes. And then once we finalize it, we can actually flatten them all and turn them to regular layers and make the file smaller. But what a smart layer does is in the background in Photoshop, when you made a smart layer, it kept the original file untouched. And even though we transformed it, stretched it, changed it, did all these things to it, you can still access the original layer, the original file, without losing any quality.